Good afternoon, everybody. This is Attorney Brooke Goff. I'm doing a pop-up video today. I've been talking to you guys about what you want to hear as these videos have really taken off. Last week's video was like 24,000 views or something, which is just unbelievable. I'm getting people from other states calling because people are sharing it, which I appreciate, and saying, hey, look, listen to what this lady has to say. She actually might know what she's talking about. And I do. So this week I'm going to do slip and falls. Now, I want to warn, next week I'm likely going to do a short section on childhood sex abuse. I just think it's important people understand the rules behind it. I think that a lot of people don't bring these cases because, unfortunately, they don't know the rules and it scares them. So just heads up, that'll be issued next week. It's probably going to be a very short video, maybe 7-8 minutes, just kind of talking about the laws in Connecticut and what the rights are for those unfortunate victims of sex abuse as a minor or even as an adult. So for today's session, it's going to be slip and falls in Connecticut. So everybody has, I don't say everybody, there are so many people that when I talk about slip and falls, whether it be in trivia questions or people request information about it, people make fun of people. Hey, slip and fall, ambulance chasers, not just me, but they also talk about the clients. People, slip and falls happen and the injuries are significant, okay? I can't tell you how many cases I've handled where there's bimalleolar fractures, which is a very bad ankle fracture. People fracture their feet, they fracture their toes, they fracture their wrists, they fracture their backs. I mean, slip and falls are serious. I have a case right now where a woman's had 3 hip surgeries, slip and fall, due to a hole in a crosswalk that was not open and obvious. I have another case. I just settled the case for $150,000 for a woman that fell in a pothole that was in a parking lot of where she was picking up pizza with her child and broke her. Well, excuse me, she didn't break. She tore the tendon in her foot, needed surgery. I've had so many slip and fall cases. I had one. I mean, ice is a big one. Ice is just bad, and they people will fall at their condominium complexes in the parking lot. One of the first cases I ever handled, the attorney didn't want the case, and I said, look, let me learn, right? This was years ago. Let me learn. Let me take this case on. The gentleman fell, just got back from the store. I think it was March, maybe February, and he was carrying a sesame oil, the glass bottle of it from I almost said Whole Foods. And we call it Whole Paycheck. We live in West Hartford, so we can, and there's 2 of them, so we call it Whole Paycheck. But because you go there and you spend your whole paycheck. But he was carrying sesame oil, slipped and fell on ice, and guess what? The bottle broke and it tore 3 arteries here, and he had a massive scar, very bad case, blood, pictures, the whole thing, and he didn't know what to do. So he called, and the attorney, like I said, didn't want to take it. And I said, just let me take it. Let me see what I can do with it. I sold that case for $275,000. And I did that because I know how to work up a case. And that was new, okay? I wasn't what I am now. I was new. But I'm OCD, which is great for you as a client because there's no stone that goes unturned. So what we ended up finding is that because notice is a big problem in these cases. So the defendant, if you fall on snow or ice, they claim, hey, look, we didn't have notice that this ice or snow was here. And of course, if they can prove that, right, that they didn't have notice, you might have an issue at court. But we look at weather forecasts, we get experts involved. Very few times is that defense actually, I say very few. It does happen, but it doesn't happen a ton, right? So what ended up happening in that particular case is there was it was a condo complex, and there was a pipe that was leading from the roof down to the parking lot, right? And it was bringing the melted snow as it would melt during the day and it would freeze up at night. And guess what? That snow would travel down this right into the parking lot where it would empty it up, and it would freeze, and that's where my client fell next to his vehicle. And they created that condition, right? Because think about it. They created the ice because they were bringing it from the roof down to the parking lot, right? So you don't need notice for that, all right? When they create the defect, you don't need notice. I think so there's so many weird nuances with slip and falls, and the injuries are serious. So I don't know why sometimes people, they'll watch my whole video, then they'll say, hey, slip and falls, da 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 da. It's like, don't waste your time watching the video. And there's somebody that's going to learn from this that their life's been turned upside down. Can't provide for their family because they broke their ankle. Can't provide for their family because they broke their wrist. And it's serious to them. And you shouldn't make people feel bad for doing their right as a citizen of Connecticut, which is to bring a claim for something that was a result of somebody else's negligence. And another case where a gentleman in Stanford, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, slipped and fell on ice. Now, that ice was there, but that was the only way to leave his apartment. And he slipped and fell, broke his ankle, screws, hardware, the whole thing, missed 3 months of work. And the ambulance couldn't even get the gurney to him. They had to drag my client under because there was so much ice and snow. I mean, we settled that case pre-litigation meeting without filing suit for $289,000. So I get a lot of money on slip and fall cases. Attorneys don't like them because they're work. I love work. I went to law school. I haven't stopped working since, okay? I work 100 hours a week. So you got to go with an attorney that's going to work for you. And I'm not saying, I'm it, right? I am saying I'm it, but if you don't like me, you don't like my hair, you don't like the way I talk, there are other attorneys out there, I'm sure, that will give slip and falls a shot. But you got to find that one, and that's key. Don't go into an attorney's office and talk about a slip and fall and let them turn you away and say you have no cause of action. Get a second opinion, all right? So, slip and fall 101, right? Firstly, if you fall on town property and you don't know, so this is why it's important to have an attorney. If you fall on property, you think it's owned by the neighbor, you think it's owned by this homeowner. It might not be, right? It might be town. And there's a statute, it's called 13A-149, Connecticut General Statute, CGS, 13A-149. That says you have to put the town on notice within 90 days. People, this is not 90 days that you get it in the mail. It needs to be delivered there, and you better get it stamped because they regularly lose them. You need to get it stamped within 90 days. If it is not, you forever barred. 2 years statute of limitations won't even apply to you, okay? Against the town. Now, the thing with these cases that makes them so difficult is that the injuries for if you fall on town property, right, need to be significant. Let me just tell you why. There's a rule in Connecticut which says, I'm not going to use attorney speak with you, but basically says if you are even as the victim 1% at fault, you lose. Okay, so you cannot be contributory. And let me tell you, every slip and fall, you could have looked up quicker. You could have, I don't know. You could have, maybe seen it if you looked at it closer. There's always 1%, usually, right? So as attorneys, we argue no, and we have to build a case so much that 1% you overcome. A lot of these cases we don't take to trial. We try to settle them because of this issue. But just to let you know, there's 90 days. So don't wait for a year. If you fall on the sidewalk and break your ankle or break your wrist, bring a claim because it won't be there. 2 years doesn't apply to municipality. It does. Well, it does. But you have this 90-day rule, right? So you have 90 days, right? Okay. Then as long as you meet that threshold, then you have the 2 year statute of limitations. And you better keep that document that you put on notice. There's different requirements, okay? Your name, date of injury, time, exact place with measurements, pictures, injuries. I mean, the whole thing. And if you look online, you read the statute, you understand. Not something you want to mess with on your own. Do not mess with it. Get a lawyer. Trust me when I tell you. And some lawyers don't take these cases, just to let you know. So it might be a little difficult to get a lawyer because this isn't, so a lot of attorneys do personal injury as a hobby, which I don't know why somebody would hire an attorney to do something for them that they do for a hobby, but that's besides the point. Some attorneys do this for a hobby, right? I don't. This is my practice. And they won't take 1381 to 49 because they don't know how to do them. And they don't want to be bothered, and they know if they mess it up, it's malpractice, right? So again, make sure if you fall on town property, I don't care if you trip over the sidewalk, I don't care what the case might be, talk to an attorney right away because you only have that 90 days. And let me say, some attorneys, hi Doreen, you can watch, during your comments, you can watch it back because I'll post it. But some attorneys, they won't even touch it, so you might be shopping a little bit. Call me, obviously. I do these cases. I do well at them. I've settled them for upwards of $250,000. It just depends on the fact pattern, all right, and your injury. Also with slip and fall, something interesting, workers' comp. So I'm going to mix these two together just for a second. So workers' comp cases, a lot of people slip and fall at work, right? And they call me and they're like, look, can I sue my employer? The answer is no. Unless the employer was reckless, meaning there's a rule under Suarez that the employer has to be reckless. So if you slipped and fall off a roof, it's not enough that you slip and fall off a roof, right, and get injured. The employer's got to be up there. I use this example. It's not limited to this, but literally they better push you off. If they push you off, then you have a recklessness count. You can sue your employer, all right? So what we look for in cases where people slip and fall at work, and usually they happen in parking lots, and usually it's ice, right, is that who manages that property, or who manages that parking lot, and who owns that property, because that can open you up to a claim. Now there are rules in here for workers' comp that if you're leaving work and you haven't gotten your car yet, you still have a comp claim and the potential for the third party claim against the property manager or property owner. If and that goes across the board. So some people think, oh, I don't have a comp claim, right? Because I already clocked out. No, not until you get to your car. So it exists that you have a comp claim and a third party claim, right? So you can't sue your employer for that fact pattern, but you'd sue the property owner and property maintenance company, and then you'd bring your comp claim and everybody's happy, okay? Again, another reason you need lawyers. This is the thing with slip and falls. Guys, I don't force anybody when I talk to you guys on this or when I meet with people with motor vehicle cases to get a lawyer. I say you should. 85% of people end up coming in after the fact anyways and hiring me, but regardless, I say you should. Slip and falls, you need one. There are most of the insurance companies will just deny liability off the get-go, so you don't have anything to fight for. So many people walk away from these cases because they think, oh, the insurance company said I don't have a case, or of course they're going to tell you that. They're the defendant. It'd be no different than if you fell on your neighbor's property. He's like, and you go out the next day and the hole's fixed, and he's like, there was no hole there. Well, of course he's going to say that, right? So don't fall for the trick, all right? So if you're hurt, the first thing you should, if you need medical attention, get it, of course. You got to take pictures, okay? You got to take pictures. I can't tell you how many times we run into an issue where people don't take pictures. Take them. I don't care. I don't care if you're injured a little bit. I don't care if you're injured a lot. Snap a picture. Let me tell you, I have a case where it's a very catastrophic injury, the crosswalk case I was just talking about, and the client didn't take pictures. And I'm like, we have a 50-50 shot without the pictures, right? Very nice lady. She would have done well. I'm confident she would have gotten a plaintiff's verdict. How much? Who knows if she's got catastrophic injuries. Guess what? I got the defendant's discovery. So when the case goes into suit, they give you questions and documents. They took pictures, saved her whole case, thank God. That doesn't happen, okay? 1 in 100 times. So you need to take the pictures, and unfortunately, you got to get them quickly, all right? If you do not get these pictures quickly, they will fix the defect, and then it's your word against theirs, all right? You can't use the fact that they fixed the defect to prove there's a defect. That doesn't come in court. So you got to get those pictures. So most people are stuck on the ground after they fall, waiting for the medical attention. Snap a couple pictures with your phone. I don't care how great they are, just snap them. You're going to need them. When I get slip and fall cases in, I just usually put them into suit. Unless the injuries are not like catastrophic or it's a town case, I just put them into suit because at the end of the day, I mean, they're going to end up there. And in a lot of slip and fall cases, we see catastrophic injuries. Hips, knees, ankles, hands, wrists. I mean, you name it, heads. I had one guy that was walking into his home at night. He got home late. Ice, again, the same thing. Pipe from the roof came down. A traumatic brain injury. He was in a coma for 2 weeks. I mean, this is no joke. And I got to tell you guys, a lawyer for slip and falls is the way to go. I do more work on slip and I probably do 4 times the amount of work on slip and fall cases than I do anything else. Our hourly rate, we don't have one, we work on a contingency, meaning I only get paid if I get you settlement. But when you figure it all out based on time, is actually even lower in slip and falls than it is workers' comp, and we get a less of a fee in comp. It's because so much work goes into building these cases and so much more risk and expenses, but they're worth it. I mean, you're hurt, you slip, you fall, lawyer, done. I'm happy to help you. I enjoy doing slip and fall cases. Some attorneys hate them. I love them. So the other thing, so I get this question all the time. So I fell on my neighbor's property. I'm afraid to sue. What do I do? Well, firstly, you're putting in a claim. You're not suing. All right. So you're going to put in that claim. It helps to have lawyers involved. I'm just letting you know, because if you try to handle it yourself, it just doesn't work. And then you're going to be disappointed. You're going to end up fighting, which is the exact thing you're trying to avoid by not getting a lawyer. So you fall on a neighbor's property. What do? Well, firstly, you report it to the neighbor, right? Say, hey, look, I fell on your defect or whatever it is out there. Second, you ask for their insurance. Say, look, we have insurance people. Insurance is for this reason. They don't pay anything. Maybe a deductible, maybe $500 deductible. Most people don't have it though. So you ask for the insurance, they give you the insurance, and that's it. Your attorney's going to handle the rest, all right? So again, slip and fall cases, neighbors, don't worry about, I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't bring the claim because you're afraid you're going to end up fighting with the neighbor, you're going to end up fighting when you realize the neighbor's really just telling you that they're going to help you and they don't, and now you're injured and you have nowhere to turn and you've just screwed yourself. So don't do that, all right? What your burden of proof in a slip and fall case is preponderance of evidence. So it's not beyond a reasonable doubt, like you see in criminal court, O.J. Simpson, right? Beyond a reasonable doubt. That's 99.99% chance that that he didn't do it, right? Or in this case, that it was the other person's fault. You have to prove by preponderance of evidence, so greater than 50% chance, that what you said happened the way you said it happened and your injuries were a result. That standard's very light, guys, okay? So it'd be more likely than not. So basically, you just have to prove more likely than not. So not would be under 50%, right? So more likely than not, what you say happened the way you said it did, and your injuries resulted. The standard's not that bad, all right? So there shouldn't be a wall up and preventing you from doing this. Most people, they wait and bring it to the end. I don't recommend it. I say you meet with somebody. These injuries are the gifts that keep giving. And let me tell you, you might be embarrassed after you fall. You might not, but some people can't get up. Some people actually have broken bones. The case I told you I saw for 150, she limped to her car dragging her ankle. It's all on surveillance. It's on video. That's the other reason for slip and falls. So not only will the attorney, a good attorney, get an investigator to go out there and take pictures, they will also pull surveillance from surrounding areas so that we can see the fall. Guys, that is a danger zone for a defendant, okay? So let's say you fall at John Smith's grocery store, right? If we have the surveillance video, because we had our investigator pull it, the jury's going to see you falling on exactly what you said you fell on. You meet the preponderance of evidence standard, okay, most of the time. So falling inside of places is another thing. I get so many people falling in grocery stores because, the sprinklers are going over and everything else. Take pictures, do an incident report. Do not get up, leave and go back. Do the incident report, sit there and deal with it, all right? Because I'm telling you, you're going to be in pain the next day, probably a lot of it, especially since mostly adults fall in the stores. And if you don't take care of it now, they're just going to fight you tooth and nail. So be smart. Slip and falls are not easy like car accidents, okay? Not that car accidents are easy, they're not. But slip and fall is not cut and dry as car accidents. You need investigators involved. You need lawyers involved. If you want to get what you deserve on these cases, you're not handling it on yourself, unless you want to get $2,500 or $1,000, because that's how they value these cases. You got to build them up. Most of the time we end up, settling in suit, in litigation. Sometimes we settle out of litigation. And obviously we find out there's insurance ahead of time, so you know what you're facing. So again, and doctors, so some people say I slipped and fell, I don't have insurance, or I have state. When you get a lawyer, we have connections to doctor networks you probably don't have connections with definitely under a state insurance plan, some private insurance plans. So what we do is you have something called a letter of protection, okay? Which is because we have relationships with doctors that obviously know that people need care and can't afford care, these doctors will see our clients and they will allow themselves to get paid at the end of the case. So you can have access to incredible medical care from board certified physicians, even surgeries, okay? And everything is on a contingency of settlement. So a lot of people don't know that either. So don't not go to the doctor because you think, I have no insurance, the bills are going to pile up. You're doing the insurance company a favor. Call a lawyer. They'll get you into where you need to be. They will help you. And if you want to see a specific doctor, then the lawyer will call the doctor and see if they'll take a letter of protection. A good lawyer will go down and take it as an opportunity to meet with a doctor and say, hey, Dr. So-and-so, I'd love a relationship with you. I have many clients in this area, and I'd love to talk to you and see what you're all about. That's what a good lawyer is going to do. They're not going to make you go to some hole in the wall. You can tell a lot about your attorney from the doctors that they deal with. So again, I appreciate everybody watching. Again, watch our radio show, listen to our radio show on 104.1 on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. And, Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. And again, always, always, always take pictures if you fall. You can do a lot of things, you can make up for a lot of different things, a little gap in treatment, etc. If you don't get those pictures when you fall, guys, you are making a potential decision that's going to affect your whole case. And again, if you fall on town property, or if you fall on any property, don't assume it's owned by the neighbor. It could be owned by the town. It could be owned by the state. The state has different requirements. This is why lawyers are necessary for slip and falls. We work on a contingency. We get 1/3 at the end. I don't get paid unless I get you a settlement. You're out nothing. There's no risk to you. You sit back, you treat, you get the treatment you need, you recover, and leave the heavy lifting to the attorney. Again, I appreciate all of your support. I love that you guys watch the video. Share this video, because guess what? I guarantee you're going to share it with someone. They're going to share it with someone, and they're going to share it with someone. And they know someone that was in a slip and fall that had no idea they have a case until they just hear me now. And for the haters out there that watch the videos and decide to share hateful comments about people that have slip and fall cases, stop watching the videos. If you know, and the crappy part for you is that you are going to have a slip and fall eventually. I know somebody that is, and regardless of what negative things you put on here, you're learning something, and you're going to share what you learned from here because I posted this video. So again, guys, thanks for the support. Follow us on Facebook, share us on Facebook, listen to the radio show at 9 a.m., 104.1 on Tuesday mornings. And as always, enjoy the weekend. Be safe, drive safe. If you're by the pool in this 110-degree heat, make safe decisions. If you have people over for a party, ice up their keys, that I've talked about before, and protect yourself. Because guys, this is all about protection. I'm teaching you how to protect yourself, and I'm also teaching you how to protect your rights. Again, I'm going to sign off. Attorney Brooke Goff. Thanks for watching.